Welcome back to another episode of LoPresti Looks at Life. Um, this one will be a little bit of a different one. Won't be recounting a story or anything like that like I have on the past few. Today I wanted to talk about one of my favorite types of video games and how that applies to life. Because, I always, anytime I can combine video games and how they can help you succeed in life is one of my favorite things to do. I feel like it comes from like in the '90s. Everybody was always talking about how video games like cause school violence and make you a terrible person, and so I have this like vendetta again, like to constantly prove that that's not true. So today I wanted you guys to think about the importance of the skill of adaptability. What do I mean by adaptability? I mean being able to take your skill set, which give or take a little bit won't generally change too much, and take this skill set and make it work for you in a variety of situations. Now, one of my favorite examples, or one of my favorite archetypes in video games is the roguelike. Now, a lot of you are probably going to be unfamiliar with this term because it's a nerd thing, but a roguelike game is a video game in which you can't control what items and stats bonuses that you receive. Now, sometimes you can influence what items and stats and things you get throughout the game, but for the most part, you can't control what's going to happen. And so it's very important in these games, if you want to be good at them, to take like your core skill set and be able to say, hey, I found like the pancake item, I'm gonna start making more pancakes. Or like, man, last time I had the pancakes but now I have waffles, I need to be able to combine parrot and waffle, or whatever the case may be. And I think that this is a really important skill, but it's not really talked about a lot. Everybody will always say that, you need to be dependable, you need to have X skill, you need to be able to work with others, and all those are great skills, but nobody really talks about the importance of being able to adapt to any situation. You go to college, you get a professor that you don't really get along with, but you need their course to graduate. You got to adapt to that. How can I take my core skill set and make this situation work for me? It's not what I asked for, but it's what I need to do. You enter a new relationship. How can you take your core skill set, your core personality, and make it work with this other person? You can't control what they do. Now, we can influence, but we'll never able to be truly able to control the outcome of a lot of these situations. And if we can control them, it's through using our skill set to maximize our advantage. Take the coronavirus, for example. I don't think anybody saw that one coming. Nobody foresaw the complete closure and lockdown of all of education in schools, and people, teachers, students, parents, everywhere. They're trying to find ways to make it work. You got to take your core skill set and adapt it to a variety of situations. If you stay up late all night playing video games, take some of that time, put it towards online education or something. If you are really good at having like a regimented schedule, you can make time for online education, or reading books, or whatever it is that you need to do. If you have this applies to everything in life, really. You get a new job, you need to take that core skill set and adapt it to make it so you're able to be successful no matter what the situation. Now, sometimes one of my favorite parts in roguelike games are the fact that they're very difficult. You're supposed to play them and die and get better and better and better and like learn the game. And that's a skill too. Being able to go through something and say, hey, this ain't my first rodeo. I know what's been going on here. If you're having difficulty with college classes, but after you take 3 or 4 of them, they become cake. And you know the system, you get to know how things work. And that's when the adaptability starts to turn things into consistency. And you won't really, it's not an obvious transfer, right? You get into a relationship, but you start to realize there's certain things you do every single time. There's certain phases you go through. And once you start to recognize those patterns and you recognize, oh, I know, this is when I get to use my core skill set to do this thing, you'll find that success will come very, very, very consistently to you. And that's really one of the unsung heroes of successful people is consistency. We've all seen the geniuses, the one-hit wonder bands that produce one song and like, whoa, everybody talks about them for 3 weeks, a month, maybe a year, but then they don't go anywhere after that. They don't turn that success into something else. They can't replicate their success. And being able to replicate and consistently produce results is what a lot of people are looking for in employees, in students, and that's just how you become successful. You don't want to be a flash in the pan. I know this one was kind of short, but I have been playing a lot of roguelike games, if you couldn't tell. So I was thinking a lot about this one, and I kind of wanted to get it out there. Because again, video game design, I love it. Life, love that too. So, thank you for watching LoPresti Looks at Life. I can't believe it's 5 already. When I started, speaking of consistency, when I started doing this, I didn't think that it'd become an it sounds weird, like an enjoyable hobby of mine, because I knew nothing about it and I'm still learning. So hopefully you learn along with me and you enjoy the journey. So if you're watching this on a weekend, have a wonderful weekend. If you're not watching this on a weekend, have a wonderful day. See you guys next time.